The bomb was described by the police as massive. It was driven to this lane under cover of darkness, and the tipper lorry that carried it was allowed to freewheel into the security fence. The 3 full-time UDR soldiers on guard duty had no chance of escape. Their guardroom suffered the full force of the blast, which was so intense that twisted girders were thrown hundreds of yards into surrounding fields. The explosion was heard for miles around. It killed livestock, and debris and the blast shockwave damaged dozens of houses nearby. One woman tried to protect her child.
It was very loud, you know, so it was.
How did little Mark react to it all?
Well, he was very scared. I lay on top of him till it was over. So I did you just don't know what to do, so you don't.
Just complete panic all over. People running everywhere.
The force of the blast blew you off your bed?
It did, yeah. I was sitting on the bed, watching television.
And how much difficulty did you have getting out with your wheelchair?
No, I didn't use the wheelchair, I crawled out.
The dead soldiers, who as full-time personnel guarded this base for 2 UDR, were named this afternoon. Lance Corporal Robert Crozier was a 46-year-old father of 2. Private Paul Blakely, who was 30, and Private Sidney Hamilton, aged 44, both had 3 children. All were from the area. Lance Corporal Crozier and Private Hamilton had just received long service and good conduct medals. 10 other soldiers were injured, along with 2 soldiers' wives and 2 other civilians. 3 soldiers are described as in a stable condition in hospital.
No one knowing this area, knowing the location of this base, could possibly have guaranteed an attack like this wouldn't have affected the civilian population. And you'll see around you the evidence of the damage done last night by this bombing. It's a miracle that there were not more people killed. It's a tragedy that 3 lives have been lost, but it's a miracle that there were many, many more and didn't lose their lives last night in these houses all around us.
It needs a greater degree of security on the ground. The police and army would be in a position to tell you most of the people actively involved in terrorism within this area, and one wonders why there's not a greater degree of surveillance of those individuals.
According to the Army, the bomb was the largest ever to have exploded in an attack on the security forces. Bomb disposal officers estimate that it contained at least 2,000 pounds of explosives. The future of the Glenanne base has been under consideration for some time. Security chiefs recognised that it could be vulnerable. One local woman said it was a miracle that the death toll wasn't higher. The social club at the base is accessible to civilians who were allowed to use its facilities.